menopause relief with natural essential oils. So my name is Eileen Burns. I'm an aromatherapist. I started studying aromatherapy when I was over 35 years ago. And in this short video, I'm going to go through 5 different essential oils that can support you with and help alleviate many of the menopause symptoms that we can have that can make life a bit uncomfortable. So let's get started. So the first oil we're talking about is geranium oil. Now, geranium oil is one of my favourites for menopause because of the wide variety of therapeutic properties that it can have. Because geranium oil balances the hormones, it can help with emotional instability, and it can be also very useful for hot flashes or flushes. If you suffer from mild depression, it can lift the mood. It's also very useful for nervous tension. It can help reduce inflammation, and it can also be useful if you have sore breasts or you find yourself and having stress related issues or find yourself in a stress related state. One of the things that happens when you start getting into perimenopause and menopause is there's a lot of shifts in the hormones, and we tend to produce a lot more stress hormones, okay? And other than this sort of physiological shifts, there can be a lot of emotional and psychological shifts for a lot of reasons. And you want to support yourself in the best way that you can. And one of the advantages of geranium oil is that it has quite a wide range of properties. And one of the favourite ways that I like to suggest to clients is that they put a few drops of geranium in a spray bottle, like a bottle of mineral water, right? And I do have an essential oil book that I'll put, a little ebook that I'll put underneath this description that can give you information about dosages and things like that. But adding, some, say for example, you've got a 50ml or 100ml bottle. If you add some oil to some mineral water, shake it, and then spray it on, it can help with those hot flashes and flushes. And the geranium, it's a lovely scent, can be a little strong, but the key here is, as long as you're not overdosing, it can be very uplifting. And one of the things about geranium is that it does help balance the hormones, and it helps with their emotions. And it can just help with if we're feeling a wee bit irritable or that kind of, nervous tension that can build up sometimes when we have an imbalance in our hormones. So that's a lovely oil to use. Another one is clary sage oil. Now, clary sage oil is also used for menstrual disorders, and it's one that I used to use when I was younger a lot. I do use it sometimes, but clary sage has its own unique properties. It has some like geranium, but clary sage is great for alleviating insomnia. It's very useful for emotional instability. It helps regulate estrogen levels, and it can also be really helpful for improving cardiovascular health. It can lower inflammation. It can be a natural antidepressant. It can also reduce anxiety and tension. It can also be useful for sore breasts and, again, stress-related states. Now, the difference with clary sage, it's not always the most pleasant scent. A lot of people find it quite pungent. But clary sage, when you need it, you'll be able to deal with the scent. It's not an issue when you really need it. And one of the things also that I should add that clary sage is very beneficial, someone that really suffers from extreme low mood, clary sage can help take people out that really low mood. So that's, it's quite useful to someone that maybe does, can go more in the lower mood line, or has, maybe suffers from depression. So it's a useful oil. But as I said, it has a particular scent that not everyone likes. But one of the things that you can do with clary sage is you can mix it with, sometimes if you use a small amount of things like lemon, it can be used with other oils. But again, it depends on, everyone has sense or something that is very particular. We all have things that we tend to like or not like. So that's just the note about clary sage. Neroli oil. So neroli oil is actually extracted from the flower of bitter orange. And neroli oil has a slightly different scent to most citrus oils. Some people say I think it's slightly kind of warmer. Some people describe it as dry. But the key thing with neroli is it is an aphrodisiac. It also improves estrogen levels. It's also useful for if you suffer from palpitations, which can come with menopause. It's another one that can be used to uplift your mood, and be useful if you suffer from mild depression and, again, nervous tension. And neroli is another one that is a sedative, and it's quite a nurturing, it's almost got a kind of nurturing scent to it. It's almost like it has that flowery, slightly citrusy, but it has a lot of the citruses, to let you understand, are more refreshing. So that's why it's slightly different. And neroli oil is also used for, it's almost quite soothing, so it's very useful for if you're suffering from restlessness and anxiety or stress related states. So a lot of people find just neroli oil quite comforting, and I think that is one of the things. It's quite a comforting oil. Now, peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is very refreshing, and most people would recognise the scent of peppermint. And peppermint oil is great for brain fog. It's great for headaches, hot flashes, and hot flushes. It's also useful for itchy skin, mental fatigue, and migraine. Now, it does have other properties, but for this focus, these are the main things that I would use peppermint oil for. But also, peppermint oil can be a useful one, like how I mentioned how to use the geranium, putting it in a spray bottle and spraying on. Peppermint is so cooling, and I really should have added that, but it's very cooling on the skin and it's very refreshing. So, particularly on a summer's day, if you've got hot flashes and flushes, peppermint is great. Also, peppermint is, a lot of you maybe recognise that peppermint's used in a lot of foot balm because of that cooling sensation. You can also put a few drops in a foot bath, and that is another way that you can actually allow the essential oils to go through your body. Now, one of the things that I never mentioned already is that just even sometimes smelling essential oils can make a huge shift in how we feel, because essential oils basically send signals up the olfactory tract in the nose and send signals to the brain. And there are some oils, for example, the peppermint oil is very refreshing. Some oils are more relaxing. And if you think about the clary sage, that's more relaxing. It is slightly uplifting, but it is more relaxing in that kind of sedative. And you have the other kind of oils that are more uplifting. So again, this is another way that you can use these oils. Now, sandalwood oil, this is another oil. Now, sandalwood oil is another one of my favourites, but I use sandalwood for a lot of things. Now, sandalwood oil is very useful for dry skin, which can, and particularly mature skin, and often when we hit menopause, the skin does get drier. And sandalwood has a lot of properties. It's very useful as it's very preserving in the skin. It's very nurturing, and it can also be useful for a lot of skin problems like eczema and things like that. But it's also really useful for insomnia, right? It's very grounding and very relaxing and calming. And it has a kind of masculine energy that's very basic. And this can really help drop us into ourself, right? And it can really help us with any emotional instability. It kind of centers us. It's also useful for irritability and listlessness. That where you maybe, you've went beyond exhaustion, or you just feel really fatigued and just feel as if you don't have the same energy. It just kind of centers us back into our body. It's also we can use to help protect our energy a wee bit. If you're suffering from mild depression, it can be useful. One of the things I would say, if you are maybe having more severe depression, what I would do is combine sandalwood with maybe some of the more floral and citrus, just to give that uplift. Sandalwood oil is also really useful if you're maybe oversensitive or you've got high sensitivity. Now, during menopause, a lot of women comment, even women who would never regard themselves as highly sensitive, they feel as if they become oversensitive. So that is very useful. And as I said already, sandalwood is very grounding. So it is useful if you feel ungrounded. Find out where you can source high quality and organic essential oils in the links below. And you can also find out more about essential oils and how to use them safely and effectively at home in my Essential Oils for Home Use guide. Again, you get the details in the link below. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and comment. Tell me what is your favourite essential oils. Bye bye for now.